VGC is supported by Patreon. Check out patreon.com/videogameschronicle for more podcasts, ad-free browsing, and extra content. Thank you for your support. Keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky. It's VGC, the Video Game Podcast, episode 142, with me, Jordan Miller, Andy Robinson, and Alex Donaldson. This week, Elon Musk decides he's a developer, Nintendo confuses everyone with a wee baby, and the PS6 hype train has officially left the station. But first, how are we doing, folks? Alex Donaldson, you've darkened our door once again. How are you, though?
I'm good, yeah. It's getting into a crazy season, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in for review. Like, one of those things where earlier this week it was like, right, here's 6 games. Which ones would you like to do and which ones would you not like to do? Which is crazy. But it's nice to be busy, right? And it's nice to be on terra firma for a bit. Like, I mean, I know Andy's off somewhere pretty soon, but I'm not going anywhere now for a good month, which is a nice feeling.
Yeah, this is the first time I've not had some kind of escapade booked for about 18 months at this point, which is nice. My partner greatly appreciates it. So, yeah, it's been nice. This time of year always reminds me of, and I only caught the tail end of this when I was breaking in, was be like September, October, November. Every morning, Royal Mail would just chuck 50 red and white PS3 and PS4 discs through your letterbox, and you'd go, oh, it's this, and then it'd be like Lego The Departed Part 2, and you'd be like, yeah, maybe not this one for today, but yeah, it's a fun period. Andy, how you doing?
I'm good, yeah. I'm pretty sure I've not been on the podcast for about 2 months.
No, there was a wee period where everyone was back and we had like 2 weeks together, and then we all departed to the wind. So it's
I don't know, maybe. Yeah, it feels like I've literally had to like dust my mic off. On your Christmas talk, like without being like old man reminiscing, the good old days were the magazine days, mate. Because all the games are coming super early, like in magazine days, like really exciting. So you imagine like, you know, you're getting stuff now for stuff that's coming out in like a week, 2 weeks. On the magazines, you'd have it like 2 months in advance. Like I remember Xbox 360 magazine had like a console and the launch lineup. Like it must have been in like September. You know, it's coming out in December. You know, that was, you know, it's super exciting then. And then obviously, I mean, I think they eventually brought in a 13th issue for those poor magazine guys. So at Christmas wasn't much fun. But my memories of starting out like 20 odd years ago were Christmas, and this is a bit of inside baseball, was basically getting taken out by every company in December. It's like, we're going to go and have Christmas drinks with Ubisoft, and then Activision, and then Codemasters, and then eventually everyone became wise to saving their money.
Yeah. Well, it used to be everyone would have several publishers would club together for a particular...
Yeah, well, they worked out that, you know what, it would be a lot cheaper and more efficient if we just did this together.
You know, Andy, you just mentioned that at 360 launch. That was nearly 20 years ago now.
Yep.
20
years a couple of weeks, yeah. It was the 5th, because I got my job. It was the 5th of December, 2005, UK launch.
I remember going to an Xbox 360 launch event like 4 weeks before it came out, and playing Perfect Dark Zero. And I remember really vividly, there's the level that starts in it
was like a jungle-y thing, wasn't it?
There's a level that starts in like a car park in a multi-story, and I remember looking down at the double yellow lines and being astonished by the quality of the texture.
That was HD, wasn't it? Like I had I got given a debug console to do. They didn't give out Perfect Dark for review, understandably. There were no reviews for that one, so I had Cameo and Project Gotham free, and that black debug console. One of my first gigs.
I will say I'm a Perfect Dark Zero defender. Like not the single player, the campaign's
why?
The multiplayer.
Oh no, the multiplayer's great. Yeah, they had
the multiplayer. It was the best multiplayer on Xbox until Halo 3.
100%. What remained of the original team worked on the multiplayer.
My memory of the Xbox 360 early days was well, first of all, I was 10 when it came out, but I was so certain I was getting a PS3 because I was fully Sony pilled. Not that I am now, obviously. But I was reading all the magazines, super obsessed with PS3. Then my neighbor got a 360, and I saw Gears of War, and I saw Gears of War multiplayer, and I was like, "What is this? What do you mean? How is this a real thing?" And then it totally flipped, and I was like, "No, it's."
You mean you weren't initially won over by Full Auto and 99 Nights?
No, it was. I'm more of a Cameo man. I've got a Cameo tattoo.
Cameo's a great game.
Can't show you it on this podcast. I remember playing Cameo in Comet and Paisley when they had one of those big standees for the 360, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is kind of all right." But it was Gears that my launch games. I think it was just maybe Gears, and I played that to death, and then eventually, because this was in the days where you only got like a couple of games a year, not now where swimming in games don't know you're born. Anyway, before we continue, if you'd like to support more old men being nostalgic for the mid-2000s, you can do so at patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle, just like our wonderful season ticket holders, including our patron of the week, Ryan Cobain. Ryan joined us after a massive head injury made him forget the history of video games, and thus he joined patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle to hear Chris Scullion whittering on about the Mega Drive and the Amiga and the BBC Micro and the Satellaview, etc. Patrons also this week got a special bonus podcast with Christopher MacArthur Boyd. You may have seen the free version of this podcast in your regular feed, but if you want an extra podcast that includes Q&As, a bit more swearing, a bit more a bit of blue for the dads, check out patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. Story number 1. Ubisoft reportedly cancelled an Assassin's Creed game partly due to, quote, political concerns. According to current and former employees speaking anonymously to GameFile, shout out to tell, the game was cancelled and it was planned to take place during the Reconstruction period that followed the American Civil War in the 1860s and 1870s. It's claimed the Assassin's Creed game would have followed a black man who was formerly enslaved in South and moved west to start a new life. Quote, recruited by the series' assassins, he would return to the South to fight for justice in a conflict that would, among other things, see him confront the emergence of the Ku Klux Klan, according to interviews with 5 current and former Ubisoft employees. Apparently, 3 of those employees told GameFile that the game was cancelled last summer by Ubisoft management for 2 reasons: online backlash to the reveal of Yasuke, the historically inspired black samurai from Assassin's Creed Shadows, and concern about the political climate in the United States. Alex Donaldson, are they trying to say that they were worried about offending the modern-day Ku Klux Klan by cancelling this game?
Who could say? I mean, I posted on Blue Sky saying, isn't it funny that Assassin's Creed went from battering the Pope inside the Vatican to this? Although the thing that someone did point out to me, someone said, do you think they'd get away even with that today, or would the sort of the hard evangelical types go absolutely mental about that today? And probably the answer is yes. So in many ways, I mean, make no bones about it, I think it's cowardice on the part of Ubisoft. I think that sounds like a pretty cool concept for an Assassin's game, but also I think it speaks to where we're at as a society in the US and UK and bits of Europe and stuff, in the sense that, would Ubisoft greenlight a Assassin's Creed game with scenes where you batter the Pope now? Maybe not. Would they greenlight a game where the lead protagonist is a Native American? Maybe not.
Yeah.
So it's funny, isn't it? And obviously all that. The one thing that didn't shine for me in Stephen's report, and this isn't Totillo's reporting because he's spot on, but this is obviously what people have said to him. And the one thing about what people said to him that didn't vibe with me as much is this idea that Ubisoft is super dumb if the Yasuke, black dude in Japan,
Yasuke,
like if that stuff really had an effect on them, what are they thinking? Because they're like
gangbusters. They have a long history of. I think this is a good 10 years ago, right? I remember a preview that I edited on CBG. I can't remember the writer, so forgive me if he does listen to this. And he said it opened with something like Ubisoft, the company known for putting their foot in it more than Prince Philip, basically. And that's consistent for 20 years. They're like, they're just really good at stumbling head first into really avoidable PR disasters, right? Like I remember being in a taxi with Kes McDonald at E3, going to the convention center to pick up our badges, and it was the year with Assassin's Creed Unity, with the women are hard to make, comment, right? And we were in the taxi, and we go past the convention center, and within 5 seconds, both of us go, "Oh, so they're all men, like 4 men,"
Yeah.
And then it's like, but you dig deeper, the gaff got even worse, because it isn't like the guy was like, "Oh yeah, we'd have to redo lots of animation for women. They're very hard to make," which is a ridiculous thing to say. But even more ridiculous when you find out like the reason there's 4 men is because there are not 4 men. You all play as the one guy, and that's what other players look like to you. And they just keep doing this, right? And to your point, you're absolutely right. Is that some absolute grifters have made a situation out of the Yasuki thing. It sold absolute gangbusters. We're seeing it again this week. Ghost of Yote. When I interviewed Erika Ishii, and I just put a picture up. I had to lock my X account. I mean, lots of people have gone off of X, understandably. I'm still on there mainly for business reasons. I had to lock my account. The amount of like absolute abuse, and that's just me like having a little glimpse into her world. Just putting a picture up. And that game has, from what we can see, also sold absolute gangbusters this week.
It's totally anecdotal, but the reaction is so interesting to all the Ghost of Yote stuff. I think I spoke about it on another podcast, but on our TikTok, we've been posting a lot of Ghost of Yote. In pre-release, like in that period between the embargo and the game coming out, it was a lot of, I'm not sure, why is it not Jen, like Ghost of Woke and all that kind of stuff. And then as it came out, you started to see the tides turning, and there's a lot of people being like, I've played 50 hours of this game, and I've only killed the boss that you have to kill at the start of the game. Like, I'm having such a good time. Like, Atsu's so fucking badass. And it's like, yeah, because you're experiencing it not through the lens of these people that make money when you're angry about stuff.
I mean, make no mistake, right? Things have changed. And the thing about Yote, the thing about Shadows, is that these were games that were greenlit at such a time in a different... Basically, I guess what I'm saying now
in a different climate,
is people who are greenlighting games now are, sadly, much less likely to be making the decision to have a lead like Erika. To be blunt, I do think we are, like, the games that are getting greenlit now and over the last year since certain political changes, we won't be seeing for 5 or 6 years. But in 5 or 6 years' time, I do feel like we are careering towards... Remember the image in the 360 gen? Again, you might not, John, but I'm sure you will, Andy, of like, it was all the protagonists. It was like a collage. And it was like an internet meme because it was 45 flavours of the same dude, basically. Yeah. And whether that was Isaac Clarke or Nathan Drake or whatever the fucking dude from Prototype was called or whatever.
Cole from Infamous.
Yeah, exactly. Infamous is a perfect example. And I do feel like we are probably heading back towards that. And actually, it's one of the funny things it's a completely different tangent, but it's one of the things that I heard about Perfect Dark around that game's struggles and stuff like that, is that they'd created a game built around this protagonist that was from a different era, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Like, the world in which that Joanna Dark was created, that version of Joe Dark, is no longer the world in which we live.
Captain America pilled, you might say. Not Captain America, Captain Marvel, that kind of like...
Yeah. I guess that's probably I think, well, Marvel's back. Perfect example, right? Where Marvel's like backgrounding that character. Is Brie even in Avengers, the new one?
I think there might have been a chair with her name on it, but
that's what I'm just checking. Yeah. Like, because
for the record, while Alex checks this for video viewers, Andy just sent a message into the Slack saying his computer surreptitiously turned off, so he will return. But much like Marvel style, Andy Robinson will return. But yeah, that was you go.
No, she's not in it.
She's not in it.
At least as announced, Brie Larson is not among the listed officially announced cast for Avengers Doomsday.
So you go from that moment in Endgame where they have their ghetto boss moment where all of the female characters like go, "Don't worry, boys, we'll do this," and then you cut to now when there is basically a complete abandoning of.
Sorry,
like,
I don't know what on earth happened there.
Andy's back. His computer has no longer exploded. We were just talking about how the like Captain Marvel, for example, she was set up to be like the face of the MCU, and she's been totally backgrounded. And characters like Shuri, who was Black Panther, biggest film in the world, and they're not pumping those out with her.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bigger discussion than just, video games, isn't it? It's the political climate. I think specifically that they're talking about a period in American history as well. It's not within the realms of, in fact, it's very inside the realms of possibility that this American government would target a games company, who was putting out that sort of content. And do you know what? It's a shame as well. Like for any of our American, I don't know if you guys feel like this, but for any of our American listeners, we don't learn American history in the UK, right? In schools.
No.
For me, Assassin's Creed 3, even though it wasn't a very good game in context of the series, was fascinating because I got to learn all this history that I did not learn in school. So I do feel like it's a shame that I've, especially us Europeans have kind of been, robbed of this experience. But again, there's also like other sides. Like I'm very wary of doing these sorts of stories. We don't know. There might have been other reasons put into it, right? I mean, obviously this is the big headline and it looks awful in terms of the optics.
I believe the story. But I guess the thing I'm trying to say is, it's a bit like Tangent. It's a bit like this whole Square Enix Final Fantasy IX remake thing, right? And it's like the only reason that game is a big deal is because it leaked, basically. And whether that game still exists, is still going to happen, is dead, has been cancelled, has been rebooted, whatever the truth is of that game, the only reason it's in the discussion is because it's leaked. And the thing about this is, this looks terrible. It is terrible, and Ubisoft is, as you sort of touched on, Andy, just excellent at these sorts of gaffes. And I did laugh. I saw some stuff that made me laugh. I saw someone replied to me with, "This game was developed by a diverse team of cowards." But the team aren't cowards, it's the execs, to be clear. But ultimately, the world has changed, and we've heard about this. The amount of games that have probably changed direction, changed protagonist, changed character designs, changed actors as a direct result of everything that's been going on that we don't hear about after Concord, after the election, after some of the political stuff that's going on, is probably absolutely enormous. And to your other point, what you just said about, I wouldn't be surprised if this government goes after a game. The thing that I am probably most curious about in the world is I would be astonished if GTA 6 doesn't have absolutely loads of stuff that is to do with the rise of the far right in America. I mean, it's set in a state that in the real world is doing its damnedest to ban abortion. With a governor who, is very, very serious about trying to become the heir to the Trump movement. And so my curiosity is, that's the biggest game in the world. And if they have the sort of biting satire that GTA has had in the past, which there's plenty to satirize on the left too, I'll be curious to see what happens. I mean, it's sort of.
they're in a much stronger position than Ubisoft, right? I mean, they will thrive in that senorio. They probably would welcome the government to, kind of comment on their game and go. Absolutely, yeah.
I think GTA and South Park are the two that can sort of get away with it. It feels like.
And there will also be the most boneheaded discussion at the time of that game's release about, GTA's gone woke, or GTA's actually on our side. But we can have those discussions when they happen. Story number 2. Mark Cerny triggers PlayStation 6 speculation by discussing AMD tech coming to, quote, a future console in a few years' time. Mark Cerny appeared in a video on the PlayStation YouTube channel alongside the SVP and GM of AMD's Computing and Graphics Group, Jack Hune? Sorry if that's incorrect. To discuss the latest developments from Project Amethyst collaboration. If you're not familiar and you missed this the first time around, Project Amethyst is a joint commitment from Sony and AMD to use machine learning based technology for graphics and gameplay. In a video, the pair discussed the gaming technology breakthroughs that they believe will lead to benefits in the games industry. Essentially, this boils down to Cerny has made allusions to, he's shown his skirt somewhat to a new console sometime in the future. No shocks at all, because it seems like a PlayStation 6 is the most natural thing in the world. But amidst all this speculation, Alex, about what Xbox does next, is PlayStation 6 the one that transitions PlayStation into an iPhone model? Because are you gonna open your PlayStation 6 and download all your PS4, PS5 games? Like, is this just what it is now? Is Andy loves celebrating the death of console generations, but is the PlayStation 6 the one that really kills it for definite?
So, my stance on this is, what the Xbox Series is, in a way, and what Xbox's whole strategy over the last gen and a half, since they sort of ousted the people who made since they ousted the people who made Xbox One a shit show and sort of started to get that back on track with the One X, but basically they're the Dreamcast. A bit like how the Dreamcast was really ahead of its time in so many ways with online and various other things. It feels like that again, by which I'm saying Microsoft was already on the path towards this generationless thing. And you only have to look at like the existence of like the ROG Ally, stuff like that, the existence of the Series S. And I absolutely, Nintendo, bit of a funny one, but backwards compatibility can never go away now.
Yep.
The biggest advantage Sony has, Phil Spencer said this a few times. Phil Spencer said, we lost the worst possible generation to lose, because any other gen you could mount back up, but everyone built those libraries with PlayStation 4, and those libraries are going to be the bedrock for everyone going forward now. And if you're a kid, you buy a PS5 because everybody's got if you're a kid, the older children and the adults around you have PS5s because they wanted to keep their PS4 library. So you buy a PS5, you build your PS5 library, and then you want to carry that library to PS6.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So I do think, all that's gone. I think the more interesting thing in this, really, I mean, we knew it already, to be fair, but it's that AMD still has these guys on lock, so they've got a special deal with Xbox, they've got a special deal with PlayStation. It's only Nintendo that are with Nvidia, no one's with Intel. And, that's interesting in itself, because when both companies are working with the same vendor for their chips, you do end up with a certain degree of similarity. There's a really good article on Eurogamer I should plug from Will, which is like it's a bit of a complicated, weird thing, but Will used to work on Digital Foundry, and then when Digital Foundry left Eurogamer to go independent, Will stayed with Eurogamer. And it's really interesting, really good, and it's about that tech, what it looks like, how that tech is likely to make its way to other hardware. So, like, again, another key interesting component of this is the tech that AMD is developing with Sony is also going to be something that AMD is going to leverage in its desktop cards, and probably mobile GPUs that will go into things like laptops and stuff as well. So that's interesting, because that speaks to Sony's increased strategy of putting more of their games on PC. It's an important string to AMD's bow when they are just absolutely, even if sometimes the products are better, they're absolutely taking the L to Nvidia in the graphics card market every time at the minute. And so all that is interesting. It's probably the more interesting side. And there's one other thing I'd say, which I think we'll probably see, in my opinion, is we'll probably see the fruits of this sooner rather than later, and we'll probably see it in a handheld before we see it in a console.
Yeah, Vita 2. Here we go.
I have one other thing to say, which I'm curious for your guys' opinion on it. I think it sort of sucks ass, because I think we're probably only 18, 24 months from seeing new hardware. Whether that's out, but seeing it certainly only 18 months maybe.
I think this is 2020. I think PS6 is 2028, probably.
That makes sense to me, based on what I know about developers who have games planned through 2027.
Yep.
But I guess what I'm going to say is, don't you think it sort of sucks? It feels like this, like, it hasn't. It's been a long time. But from a game perspective, it feels like this gen has barely started.
Do you know what? Like, I was feeling like that for a long time, but then I actually thought about this yesterday when this video came up, that No, actually, it does feel like it's been a while now, because you think about it in the context of like this console came out in the middle of the pandemic. Like the pandemic, if you think about those terms, the pandemic like it was such a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
Everything we've done and places we've been to and things we've achieved since then. So I do think, I mean, that's kind of like typical, right? 5 to 7 years is the typical lifespan. I think like 360 and PS4 was like boosted because they had Connect and Move, and they tried to artificially extend that. And to Jordan's point, it's generations are just done, right? I mean, this was the first one where it's sort of like, well, you have your library, and this is just like the new kind of iteration. The pro consoles have been firmly established. I don't think it will feel like I mean, PlayStation have got more skin in the game from a consumer hardware point of view to make it feel shiny and new. And look, it looks different, and the branding is slightly different, and the home end has got a back end has got like a shiny new aesthetic, and but certainly Microsoft does not. It's going to be diminishing returns on that front. I think it's just going to be the new shiny thing. We're firmly in the iPhone model.
I guess that's.
I think that the big difference for me is when we got the consoles for review, you plugged in the Xbox Series X and it was identical. Like it literally, there was basically no change whatsoever. At least PlayStation had the good sense to change the menu up a little bit, and honestly, it feels like it will be that and probably a new controller, which is a shame because I think that I don't use the normal DualSense, I use the Edge, but I like that family of controllers because they're quite big.
You like 2 hours of battery life?
I sit at a desk, mate. I've got USB cables coming out my arse. Like I don't need any more battery life.
But you said that the other day, and I thought about it when you said that when we were in TGS, and I for some reason it came up in my head, and I was like, "What? It's not relevant. It doesn't last long. It's amazing." It's like
it matters to me, man.
Alex sits 55,000 feet away from these massive televisions.
It's like this 1995 Renault Clio, it gets me really far. It's horrendous. The
thing is, I think with I do understand from from a fan perspective of like, oh, maybe there's not been the big games, but I think by the time PS5 is done, it will pretty much go band for band with Sony's other kind of lineups. It's just the people maybe expected multiple games in a series to be on a console like it was in the PS4. Not
it's cross-gen as well, right?
Yeah,
it's cross-gen because everything was cross-gen. It makes the gen feel more compressed because you could play a lot of those big PS5 games also on PS4.
Yeah, and I think by the time we're done and we've got Saros and we've got Naughty Dog's games and we've got Santa Monica's game and we've got Wolverine and all that kind of stuff, and it all kind of stacks up together, maybe it might not be numbers wise exactly the same as the PS4 because they were like firing out stuff on the tail end of PS3 into the PS4. They had great momentum going there, but I don't think it's been some kind of like absolutely empty barren generation. Like people were like, oh, it's like the Xbox One, and it's like, mate, the Xbox One had about 3 games across its entire like generation. PlayStation puts out like 1.5 big ones per year. You could probably like amortize out to.
I don't think that's entirely fair. I think about Xbox One, and I'm like, well, you had Gears 4, you had Halo 5, you had Quantum Break, you had Gears 5.
All games that killed the franchises, though.
You had two Forza Horizon games. You had like Sunset Overdrive. So you had some new IP in there. So there was, I feel like there was a decent. The best Xbox One exclusive was Xbox Fitness, and I'm not joking. That was the thing where the Kinect would watch.
Didn't Scullion go on about that?
It was really good. It was. I subscribed.
Mate, we should do a whole Kinect episode, mate. Kinect 2 was good.
The best Xbox One exclusive was in Dead Rising 3, where you could go and the zombies would run towards you if you had your Kinect plugged in. That was really that was worth the power of Kinect.
I didn't know that was a thing, but my opinion is that Dead Rising 3 and 4, especially 4, didn't happen. I do like the end of Dead Rising 3, though. I like when spoiler for a 15-year-old game. I like when Chuck comes back at the end. That's a big and the reveal that the girl that you've been hanging out all game with is Katie. That's pretty cool. But the rest of it can get in the bin.
Yeah. When I worked very briefly at Game Centre in Paisley, God rest it, I sold this really excited kid a copy of Dead Rising 2 that was like the special edition that came with the little Zombrex pen and things like that. I was talking to this guy about it and then completely forgot to give him the disc, the pen, the manual, just handed him an empty case and he fucked off. And I was like, when he came back for it, I was like, how far did you get before you realised you were holding like an empty 360 case? And he was like, honestly, way too far. It was quite embarrassing how far I got before I thought, there's no game in this, is there? Dead Rising 2, hell of a game. They should remake that, Alex, don't you think?
I very much feel, if I was Capcom, if I was Ryozo, whoever is making those decisions, I would be doing a deluxe remaster of 2, which includes the off-the-record version of the game, so you choose which version of that narrative you want to play, and then I would do a new game that ignores 3 and 4 and continues off from where 2 left. That's what I would do.
I still I didn't play any of the sequels because I still I have a irrational grudge against Dead Rising, the first one. I cannot tell you, you could make a comedy skit, if YouTube existed back then, of me trying to play that game past the first hour multiple times, right? Because you remember the stupid save system it had, right?
Yes.
Did you play it, Jordan?
Oh, yeah, I love
right?
Dead Rising.
So I've never got past the first hour of Dead Rising, right? No matter, multiple attempts. You'd think that I'd write it down or something, because I'm sure it's something like, you get to the first save point after an hour, and it says, do you want to save and continue or quit? And if you save and continue, it saves and then wipes your save, starts from the beginning. But if you quit, it continues. I've paraphrased that. It's slightly different, but it's something like that. It's not clear at all.
Yeah.
The one that says save and continue, basically saves your progress, your score, and then puts you at the beginning.
Yeah. You should play that remaster, it's great.
Yeah, it's one of those games. The original Dead Rising has aged really poorly, just in terms of it was very ropey in terms of
that's Inafune's game, right? Because I interviewed him for that. I'm sure it was Inafune's game, right?
Yes and no. I mean,
the producer,
was the face of it, he was the producer, and he did produce the second one as well. Obviously, the second one's fascinating because that was a Western team.
Man, that feels like a different life.
I would love to see Capcom have another bash at that. I would, as in, not a Dead Rising, but as in, I would love to see current Capcom go, right, we're going to find a really good Western studio that fills a gap in our portfolio, and we're going to make an acquisition and try to...
Because that's going really well at the moment. If I was a Japanese publisher, I'd be going, what we need is a Western studio. They're doing great.
I guess that's what I'm saying, right? Maybe what the West needs is some studios run with the sensibility that is making things work in Japan. I suppose the problem is wages and stuff like that. If you put that to the guys at Capcom, they would say, the seniors in Japan, they would say the problem is we could make exactly the same game for half the cost with the same number of people because the cost of the devs is so much less and stuff like that. But every now and then, it can be really cool to have a Western sensibility on these Japanese ideas. I think that's the thing that sort of makes
just like that Bomberman act. Was it Act Zero?
Less said about Act. Come on, man. But also, Andy, one of the best games of the year, we may very well be sitting in that auditorium watching it win in a few months, is Expedition 33, which is that game writ large. It's literally just a bunch of French guys.
Yeah, no, you're right. That is it's a very Japanese style game. Yeah, it's it's very good.
Congratulations to France for finally doing something correct. When we come back after the break, unfortunately, we have to talk about Elon Musk. We'll see you in a minute. And we are back. Remember, more podcasts, videos, and extra content, as well as ad-free browsing on patreon.com/videogameschronicle. Check out our 2 podcasts this week with Christopher MacArthur Boyd. Story number 3. Elon Musk says his XAI company will release, quote, great AI-generated game by the end of 2026. Musk owns XAI, an artificial intelligence company working on numerous projects, the most notable being the Grok chatbot. Last year, XAI introduced Aurora, a text-to-image model which lets Grok generate images with text prompts. This was then followed in July 2025 with Grok Imagine, which let users generate 6-second animated clips with sound, also based on text prompts. Now Musk is saying he'll make a game that will be great. Andy, how much longer do we need to suffer hearing about this bloated corpse of a man? Someone who allegedly pays other people to play games for him, someone who has no idea about the games industry generally, and someone that I'd rather never hear of ever again.
Well, I actually hope that he does follow through on this claim, because I am here for the car crash. Yeah. Like, can you just be? It'll be one of the most embarrassing things he's ever done if he actually attempts to release a game within the next year created with generative AI. Like, it will be the biggest, most embarrassing moment in his, recent life.
And then all those grifter streamers will be paid to play it and go, it's actually great. It's so amazing. I know I don't clean my room, but oh my god, this is the future of AI.
But what will actually happen, going on his track record, is that he just quietly won't do it.
Yeah, I think that's the most like. I mean, look, the thing I'd say about it is, even if you were to assume that, and it's a big assumption, that the AI could create a competent video game. It could do the programming, it could do the art, all that sort of stuff. Even if it could do all that, huge if, the sort of game that he and the people who surround him will be interested in making is not something I am interested in. This guy is a galactic level knobhead. And also, this guy's sensibilities. This is a guy who tweeted going, "I couldn't play GTA 5 because you had to kill cops."
Yeah,
it was too upsetting for me.
Yeah,
like, and then this is a guy who, has designed, of all the assistance chatbots, right? He's designed the one that is like the one that is for gooners, basically.
Hell yeah!
And I don't mean fans of a certain football team. He's the one who's designed the chatbot, where I saw an Instagram reel the other day where it was like someone sitting in their Tesla talking to Grok, and Grok was doing phone sex with this guy while he was driving. Ooh. And I was just like, what?
I mean, you're selling me here. You're absolutely selling me.
And can you imagine the game that they would make, though? Can you imagine how baser and just gross it would probably be?
Yeah, it'd be like all those photoshops you saw when Horizon was coming, the second Horizon game was coming out. You should hire fans, and it looks like Aloy with the Marge Simpson shotgun makeup gun. It would be. Presumably, Elon Musk is a big fan of that Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC, given his family history. But the thing for me that Andy makes an excellent point. I would love to see this just so there's something we can point to and go, that's it. It doesn't work. It's over. Also, all of this, everything AI related is hanging by a thread as these copyright holders sue all of this into oblivion. So I think we will probably be over hearing about this specific kind of here's Harry Potter fist fighting John Cena AI generative shite soon, but can't come soon enough for me.
The thing about the AI thing is, never mind all the copyright stuff. There's also the whole thing. I think it was the New York Times had an article the other day where they had a graph which showed the cycle of money of Nvidia to OpenAI to
they're all funding each other basically. Yeah,
it's mad. And you look at that, and when you see it laid out in a graph form like that, you look at it and go, Nvidia to Microsoft to OpenAI, a little bit to Oracle, a little bit to AMD, a little bit to XAI, but it is all this weird circle. And I look at it and I'm like, this looks like 2008.
It's it's going to be the biggest collapse of all time. Did I read that Nvidia's is propping up the FTSE 100? It's accountable for 10%.
Yeah,
and I'm sure it was AI was responsible for the majority of GDP growth in the US. It's all this huge grift. The only one who's making any money is Nvidia, because they're selling the cards for the data centers. It's going to be a humongous collapse.
How can we get
I imagine?
How can we? How can we get when the getting's good? Surely we can skim a bit off the top. What if we just say that VGC is the first ever AI website, the first ever website that employed AI writers to write about video games? It's never been done before, never been thought of, and never been established in many brands that you know. Elon Musk, next Miyamoto, ? Speaking of Miyamoto and Nintendo, next story. Nintendo gets gaming community confused with its close to you Pikmin videos. Now, I am gutted that Chris Scullion isn't on this podcast, but if you didn't see this, Nintendo released 2 random shorts. The first one featured a baby taking its first steps, and quickly, hyper nerds pointed out that there was a little Pikmin guy in the background and Pikmin music. The next day, they released the same video, but it showed that in fact, there was Pikmin there all along. And then Nintendo said, these are the first short films created by Nintendo Pictures Co. Limited. Nintendo Pictures will continue to explore new creative possibilities through video content. Andy, has Miyamoto been hanging about with that guy for Illumination too much? Because that's what I think. I don't need this ugly child to be clogging up my incredible Nintendo Today app. What was the point in this?
I don't know what the point of Nintendo Today is. This is it's just, what are they? I mean, everyone likes to say, Nintendo does what they want. They don't follow convention, but this is stupid.
Yeah.
This is Nintendo at its worst. They're putting videos that like locking them arbitrarily behind this stupid app that doesn't benefit you in any way, and going after any YouTubers who put the footage on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Or even use there was a YouTuber I saw who got a strike because he had a thumbnail, right? Yeah. From that. So there's certain regions who can't get that app as well, so they can't watch the videos. What are they doing? I mean, that's before we even get into it's a nice video, but it's like, it would have been strange enough if they just put the video out on its own. Hey, look, we just made a cool short. Oh, okay, that's cool. Nice. But they did it in this like viral marketing sort of way where it's like, oh, what's our short? Nothing. I don't really know what the thinking was behind that. Like, the short's cool. Yeah, put it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they'll point to like, look, we got lots of traction on social media, people talking about this, but it didn't result in anything, particularly meaningful for their fans, did it?
Do you think they're gearing up, Alex, to eventually divest themselves of having to work with Illumination and they can just put out this stuff themselves?
I don't think so, but I think it makes sense for, it gives them the ability to do more stuff on their own. Like, Illumination is not going to want to do, or Sony Pictures or whoever, is not going to want to do a Pikmin thing. And this is, I feel like this has to be an ambition of someone, almost certainly Miyamoto, because this is not the first time this has happened. Obviously, on the 3DS, they did Pikmin short films. That were, they were the big thing was that they were 3D, right? But there were videos you download off the eShop and watch on your 3DS that were little Pikmin shorts. I think they've got this vision of the fact that Pikmin doesn't need any speaking. They can tell these stories like an episode of Pingu or whatever. Although part of the problem is Pingu's funny.
No.
Pikmin are fucking boring. Pingu's like a psycho when you look at that.
Yeah.
Him as a character, which is why it's so funny when he's smashing stuff up or screaming off the top of his head. Whereas Pikmin are quite boring. But I guess what I'm saying is it's always amazing to me that it's always Pikmin, this franchise that's only sold in like 11 million copies, or whatever it is. It's not far off the Star Fox sales, which is, yeah.
I mean, I totally agree. Right? It's Miyamoto is determined to make this franchise a thing, right? And it's not yet a thing. And this is coming from, like, I love Pikmin. I'm a big Pikmin fan. I've got some Pikmin on my desk here. I was, probably I reviewed the original when I was like, a fan blogger. I would have been, 15, 16, something like that. I imported it. Always been a big fan of I love Pikmin. I think it's great. But it's Metroid tier, really, for them. Like, to your point, like Pikmin 4, which was the Switch one on their biggest ever console, soon to be their biggest ever console, sold 3.4 million copies.
Mm.
I mean, that's, spin it away. That for Nintendo, that's not great, right? That's like Mario Strikers, sort of like, like that's like, this is a flop. We're not making it again. Sort of like, numbers for them. They want 5 mil minimum for these sorts of games. I mean, it's obviously it'd be a bit. This is a bigger play for them, and it's the reason they keep making Metroid games. And they will make Metroid games. Is that it's something different that brings different people to their platform He'll then buy some other games, blah, blah. So obviously in context, it's not Pikmin is successful and useful and clearly has value for them. Especially now that they're a transmedia company, right? Like that they do need these franchises for movies and merchandise and stuff like that. But yeah, to your point, I do find it like, I do chuckle. Like when you go into Nintendo stores, like the big ones in Japan, it's like Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, which is massive, Animal Crossing, Pikmin.
Who?
And there's like Metroid has a lonely shelf, which I don't even think is there. I think it's gone. I think it's gone. But certainly for the first couple of years, there was a Metroid shelf that had like 2 items on it.
How many Metroid items will be in that?
There's like, one? You cannot buy a single piece of Star Fox merchandise from them.
No.
There's nothing in there. But Pikmin, massive. You'd think it was like Pikmin. You go to, I mean, obviously I've been lucky enough to go to Japan a lot in the last year. Pikmin 4 came out 2-3 years ago. The subway in Tokyo is still like, you get on it, there's Pikmin videos. Like, guess what the thing is? Like, Pikmin is still everywhere. Like, they advertise the hell out of that game, to make, we're gonna brute force it and make it a thing.
I don't get the constant thing. I think it is that viewpoint of it's cute and it doesn't need language, thereby.
Yeah, I think I can see that. I can see that.
I can see the thinking, but I don't see the reality. But I guess the thing, I don't know. Look, I've said for a long time, they could pivot that Nintendo Pictures. They could get them to make 12, 30-minute episodes, 25, 30-minute episodes of a TV series that is literally Thunderbirds, but it's the Star Fox crew.
Yeah.
And not actually Thunderbirds.
And I think they will.
As in CG. And I think you could sell that to Netflix and it would become a big IP. Kids would care about it. Maybe that's something about the way kids' TV has changed. But when I was growing up, and when you guys were growing up as well, like, think of shit like Biker Mice from Mars, all those sorts of toy-driven cartoons. Star Fox could be one of those. Pikmin can't, I don't think. So that's where I'm like, if they're going to do this, then just do Star Fox. For God's sake, just do Star Fox. Perfect.
If the current trend of children's media is anything to go for, they need to make a Star Fox musical and then have some excellent K-pop bangers in it and just run that for the rest of time.
My daughter watched that for the first time last night because we had been keeping it away from her, but then at preschool they'd been playing the songs, and so she came back and was literally like, "Can I watch this program that the songs are from?" And I was like, "Oh, here we go." So now they're going to have that blasting through the house for the next 6 months.
Yeah, it's this generation's Frozen. It's all cyclical. It all just goes and goes and goes. I think Sony must be spitting because they passed up the opportunity to release that and they got shirfed off to Netflix. I mean, if Sony released it, they would have not. It would have not become the phenomenon it has because obviously.
Oh, didn't they sell it off for like a massive loss as well?
Yeah, the access to Netflix is the reason why it can just be played forever. But it's amazing to see on. If you're not familiar, we're talking about K-pop Demon Hunters, but on TikTok Shop now. Every few videos on TikTok is some 40-year-old woman for the Cotswolds going, my daughter loves the K-pop Demon Hunters, and now you can get these figures right now. Get your K-pop Demon Hunters, and it's the worst kind of like straight from China, straight off the lot, not official whatsoever. They've clearly reconfigured some kind of toy for last year. It's K-pop Demon Hunters now. The rush to make any kind of merchandise for that is crazy. I was in HMV the other day, and they have the exclusive rights to the physical sales of the album. It's like that. What an amazing boondoggle that must have been to randomly pick up that. And because presumably when they picked that up, they're all like, "Oh yeah, whatever. It's a random Netflix thing." And now, biggest thing in the world by a mile. So, congrats to Korea.
Speaking of merchandise, I mean, this is where Scullion would be better to be on this. But has anyone else had
talking to a man in front of a giant wall of merchandise?
That's true, but I was going to say, has anyone picked up the Lego Game Boy?
I went to. Yeah, I literally had it in my basket yesterday, but I don't have the room. Like I don't. We've had this conversation, right?
Scullion's bought it though. That's what I was getting at.
I've still got like because I had the first couple so then people think I'm into Lego, so I get gifts of Lego, and I've got like some of the Nintendo Lego in boxes, you know, because I know if I make it, I've got to put it somewhere, and I've got nowhere to put it.
I knocked it on the head. Like for a while, I was like, well, they're finally doing gaming stuff. I'm going to get all the game stuff. And then when it was like, well, I didn't get the Atari, don't care about the question mark block, didn't get the, I would like the Deku Tree, but I'm not really that bothered.
Oh, yeah, I don't even have that.
Yeah. I've got that in my loft. I haven't built it because it's big.
Yeah,
but
it's
I was
massive.
like, because Lego is usually only in print for 24 months.
Yeah.
The one I've committed to is I have bought every single Sonic set.
Of course.
I was a big Sonic fan growing up, so I was like, admittedly, none of them.
Is that the series with the rubbish music?
Rolling around at the speed of sound.
I've got just out of frame over there. In fact, I'm going to go and get it. Hang on.
A jukebox playing Sonic music.
It's playing the remix that guy did of our podcast.
See, I haven't been on. I told you, I've definitely not been on. At TGS, we went to a Sega party, right? Like after the. Oh, nice! He's holding aloft a Sonic Adventure 2 vinyl.
Yeah, so this has got some of the greatest music ever written on it. Oh, there's.
It definitely. Just so you know, it definitely doesn't. Like, I mean, Sonic's got amazing music, and none of it comes from the adventure games. Ooh. I'm kind of with Scullion on this, right? And I don't want furries attacking me either. So don't clip. So don't clip this, right? Because that's where he got caught out because he said it too broadly. What he kind of meant is that, yeah, like I don't get that, like the butt rock, fandom. It's because they were 6 when it came out, and they're really excited. Sonic has some of the best game music ever, but none of it comes from bloody Dreamcast.
No, the thing that I would say is it's about age, and it's a really fascinating thing about the Sonic franchise in general, which is the Sonic franchise is, of all the video game, if you think about the Zelda fan base, or the Mario fan base, or whatever, it's not generational. There's a handful of game franchises where the fan bases are generational. They actually split into groups. Final Fantasy's like this, right? There's the old men who like the 2D ones, and then the people who like those PS1 and
Pokemon, mate, the Gen 1ers.
Pokemon is also generational. That's another one. But the point I was going to make is Sonic's music always. So you've got the pop dreams come true stuff. Then you've got sort of in the middle of that, you've got like the Sonic CD stuff, which is all this very 90s advent of synth. Little bit of club influence stuff, which is banging. It's banging. And then in the 2000s, you do have this butt rock that comes from that era of pop punk and stuff like that. And you look at it now, and Sonic has theme songs that are like electronica and stuff.
I take your point that it's generational, but the difference is during my generation, the games were actually good.
Well, that's a different.
So, although that's fine. This game came out. This crap game came out when I was 6. Yes, it did. Like, and I liked Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Were like I enjoyed those. Like, I was probably like late teens or mid-teens when they came out. I enjoyed those games. They were miles off of what Nintendo were doing. Miles off. And the franchise plummeted significantly from that point onward.
I don't disagree on that.
Bring me a 25-year-old. It's like, oh mate, Sonic and the Secret Rings. What a game! Like, you're just a kid, mate. You don't know any better. They were absolute tripe from that point.
What's that got
onwards.
to do with the music though? Because even Sonic.
Oh, the music. Oh yeah, okay. But they probably. I stopped playing at that point. They probably were like. There probably were some decent ones there. But yeah. So, anyway, we've digressed here. We were at TGS at a Sega party, right? And they had the actual like Sonic composer there. I'm sure one of them gave me the evils. Like I must have been imagining it. They had a Sonic like medley. Yeah, the guy who remixed your clip, right?
Yeah.
I just think, I genuinely believe Sonic is one of the franchises with the most consistently good music across all its eras, but the taste of that music changes a lot with the generations.
And Sonic is weird, right?
I don't like any of the modern stuff, really, but I like the Dreamcast era stuff, music, and anything before.
So Sonic is weird because it's never been big in Japan. If you look at the sales, like again in context, it's not like a Titanic game franchise. It isn't. But it makes $1 billion a year in merchandise, right? Sonic is a huge franchise, like outside of games.
That's like 200 people spending that $1 billion.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Olympics merch for Sonic? That looks great. The Olympic stuff.
Because everyone, it's like everyone loves Sonic, but it's like, say for me, like, right? I loved Sonic. I was a Sonic kid. I loved Sonic. I went to Sega World. I used to draw my own Sonic comics. I read the Sonic comics. Like, I'm a big Sonic fan. Very fortunate, now to, have met a lot of that development team and be friendly with them. Like, big Sonic guy. But I feel like my relationship with Sonic is outside of games, right? Oh, that's cool. I love the movies. I take my kids to the movies. I have Sonic merch and Sonic things and, Sonic Lego and what have you. But the games, they've not, kind of felt compelling to me for a long time. Probably since Colors. What is that? Is that a week?
Yeah, that's a few years ago. So we did a thing on VGC 7 when we're doing it on Eurogamer that we call the Alternate Game Awards, which we run on the same day as the Jeff Awards, and they're just stupid awards. Like, one year we gave David Cage
your awards or Jeff's awards.
One year we gave David Cage best performance for crying and stamping his feet in court when he was being sued for his company being various things, and there's lots of awards in that vein. But one thing, when what is it, Sonic Frontiers, Breath of the Sonic, whatever, and we gave an award to that was like the best game that is nevertheless quite rubbish. And that sort of speaks to, I think, the best of the 3D Sonic era, where a lot of, you are right, stuff like Secret Rings and stuff like that is just sort of like it doesn't even register on the radar. But those mainline Sonic games, with the exception of 06, with the exception of 06, those mainline Sonic games, the best of them are always great and enjoyable, but nevertheless slightly rubbish. That's how I would describe Sonic Adventure, SA2, Heroes, Colors, Frontiers. Good, but nevertheless slightly rubbish. And the other thing I'd say is when you do the Sonic versus Mario comparison, the thing about Mario is Mario can quite often get a bit safe and boring, I think. The games are excellent, but sometimes, and then when they do go unsafe, it's amazing, like Odyssey. But especially like all those 2D ones, bloody, New Super Mario Brothers, and even Wonder, I was just a bit like,
we can't get into Wonder discourse because we'll be talking for.
But Sonic is never
hours.
that. Sonic is always interesting. It's just that sometimes it's interesting because it's shite.
It's interesting for the wrong reasons. It's always like, hey, look, Sonic's a knight. Oh, now Sonic's on a moon. Now Sonic's in a car.
I'd like to end this Sonic section of the podcast, and indeed this entire podcast, with a little joke for the both of you. Why has Sonic got such good hearing?
Why?
Because he's got a left ear, a right ear, and a Sonic front ear. Thank you very much for listening to VGC, the video game podcast, the number one video game podcast in the known universe. We shall be back next week. Lots going on. Check out my Battlefield 6 review. We didn't talk about it. Multiplayer's really good. Single player's quite shite, but you're not playing it for the single player. It's Battlefield. It's Battlefield. The single player's shite. It's Battlefield. We're back. dun, dun, dun. Honestly, Vince Sampella should have got on stage and went, the single player is going to be shite, but the multiplayer is fantastic. I don't know why he's so camp, but nevertheless. Alex, where can people find you? Eurogamer,
Eurogamer.net for some writing on various things. It's .net, isn't it?
No, it's a running joke of giving out incorrect URLs.
Yeah,
I love a .net, and indeed RPGsite.net for it's a great time over there right now. There's a lot of really good shit in the RPG space. Final Fantasy Tactics, Digimon. Digimon's really good. Who knew?
Digimon, Digital Monsters.
Yeah, so
Digimon's shite. Not the game. I've not played it, but the franchise generally.
Spoken like a true Pokemon.
Better than Sonic.
Slag.
It's better than Sonic. Digimon factually better than Sonic. Digimon has Garurumon, Sonic has 0 Garurumons, so take that and shove it up your jacksie.
Do you know, it's important context as well for like me sat here slating Sonic. I've got Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and Sonic 1, 2, and 3 signed on my wall, and a doodle by the director as well, like on my wall. I'm allowed to. Those games they're good. They're the good ones.
Well, I know you're in the.
I've got soundtracks on the wall.
But Sonic 3 and Knuckles, in my opinion, is the greatest 2D platform ever made.
100%.
I think
it's hold on. What?
We can't do that. We've far too much to do today.
S3K, when it's one game, perfect. Perfect platform game. Perfect 2D platform.
Well, clearly Alex has taken a massive head injury prior to this podcast, so we apologise for any views that he's espoused.
Anyone who's offended.
Gas leak sorted. But until next time, say goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Alex.
Goodbye.
Patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle, and we'll see you next time.